period. Okay, we're looking at question 236, which is on page 45. It's this question right here. And let's see if we can get started. Okay, so it says, maybe I should have practiced this before I started recording. I did it last night, but I didn't. All right. Pen. All right, so it says, as shown in the diagram below, a landscaper uses a cylindrical lawn roller on a lawn. So we know it's going to be something with a cylinder. So if we think of cylinders, we know that the formula for cylinder, if you look at your formula sheet, is excellent. V equals pi r squared h. Okay. It tells us that the roller has a radius of 9. And it has a width of 42. And it wants us to know what is the area the roller covers in one complete rotation. Oh, you don't need to know this. That's surface area.
Thank you.
Okay, move on. That's surface area. You don't need to know that question.
The whole 2 minutes just went to waste.
Yep. It's running.
No, the rod on the thing.
EOC.
The grass thing.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's look at 237. So I'll cut out that video later. All right, 237. In the diagram of triangle ABC below, it says medians AD intersect at point F. We know, gentlemen, that the median crosses over to the other side of the circle or sugar shoots triangle in the middle, median middle. Okay. It tells us that AF is 6 and it wants us to know the length of FD, which is right here. Now, this I don't think you'll need tomorrow, but I will tell you, whenever you have medians, it actually breaks things into proportion, where the proportion is 2 to 1. So for every 2 pieces up here, there's 1 piece down here. So all we're going to do is set it up like a proportion like this. So we've got 2x equals 6, divide both sides by 2, and you're left with x equals 3. So it's choice 3. That I highly doubt you'll see tomorrow. And basically, or sugar shoots, when you take the EOC on the 29th or 30th. As a side, so the ratio is 2 to 1. And this point right here is called a centroid. It's in the center. But I don't think you'll see this question on the EOC. Okay, let's go back up. Looking at question number 38. Oh, and the cool thing about this tool is it saves everything I write. So I can upload notes. Isn't that awesome? I think that's awesome. Okay, how many points are 5 units from a line and also equidistant from 2 points on the line? That's fun. Okay, so this one, let me make sure my answer, yep, I was right. Okay, so let's first draw a line. This is our original line. Because it says it wants 5 units from the line, we're going to draw a line 5 units above and 5 units below. Then it says to us, well, from that, so now we know our answer has to be on these 2 red lines. And then it says it has to be equidistant from 2 points on the original line. So here's 1 point here and 1 point here. So basically, all we're going to do is make a triangle. So here's 1 point. This one green point here is the same distance from the other 2 green points. And the reason why, it's like this is a radius, so I can make this be one huge circle. That's where it intersects. Here's another radius with this being a circle. And so basically, that's how I'm going to get it at 2 points. Right here and right here are the 2 points that it would work. So basically, I'm just drawing 2 circles, and I'm seeing that they intersect in 2 places that also intersect the lines. The answer is 2. Okay, 39. you don't have to do. It's on converse. We don't do converse in Georgia. If you want to know, basically the converse is you just switch the order, but we don't do that in our geometry curriculum. 40. In the diagram below, chord CD is parallel. This is huge. Anytime you see parallel, we know it's equal parts. Okay. So it says the diameter is AB. It tells us that this arc right here is 110. So if this arc right here is 110 and we have a diameter, how much does it have to equal all the way around? I'm sorry. How much does it have to equal from here to here? 180. Colin already subtracted it for us. So these two pieces have to end up equaling 70. What you can do instead is I would just do it like this. I would do x plus 110 equals 180. Because, yep, each of these three things have to equal 180. So we're left with 2x plus 110 equals 180. 2x equals 70. X equals 35. If you didn't want to do it that way, the other way you could have done it is just substitute in. What if this is 35 here and this is 35? Yep. Well, it wants, yep, the answer is 35. So you could do 35 plus 110 plus 35, that equaled 180. If it was 70, 70 plus 70 is 140. 140 plus 110 is 250, so that's why it can't be 3. 55 and 55 is 110. 110 plus 110 is 220, so it can't be 5. And then this would end up giving us 330. So because when we substitute these in, we get 180, that's why. But this is the official mathematical way to do it. Okay. Coming up here, this you'll see this is like a level 2 question. Is this a plus sign? It's not on my paper. Thank you. So we have here the student wrote the following equations.
No, that's an
Negative.
I didn't say that.
It's fine. It's no big deal. I'll make it a negative. No big deal. Negative. Okay. So there's 2 ways to do this. Let's just make it into y equals mx plus b form because that's the way I've been showing you the most. So here we've got 3y plus 6 equals 2x. We're trying to get it into y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to subtract 6. Excellent. 3y equals 2x minus 6. Divide everything by 3. So we're left with y equals 2/3 x minus 2. So far, so good. You should know how to do that part already. Then I'm going to do it for the other equation. This equation is 2y minus 3x equals 6. So we're going to add 3x to both sides. Leaves me with 2y equals 3x plus 6. Divide each thing by 2. So my other equation I'm going to write down here. Y equals 3/2 x plus 3. So here's our issue. What I highly recommend you do is here's our original equation, and here our slope equals 2/3. So if it was going to be parallel, our slope would have to be 2/3. And if it was perpendicular, our slope would have to be negative 3/2. So here we have 3/2. Well, it's not 2/3, so we know it's not parallel. It's not the exact same equation, so we know it's not the same line. It's not negative 3/2, so we know it's not perpendicular. So it's got to be choice 4. Do not give up on this question. It's a really easy question. So if you get something like this on the test, just work it through. It's super easy. Okay. Question 242, which happens to be my favorite number, if you didn't know that.
What? 142 is your favorite number.
242 is my favorite number. Isn't that ridiculous? Because I used to live in the Bahamas, and the area code for the Bahamas is 242. So anytime I see 242, I think about the 2 years I lived in the Bahamas. Okay. Next, in right triangle ABC, we're still recording, shown in the diagram below, altitude BD is drawn. The reason why this word altitude is important is it means right angle. Excuse me. It tells us that AC is 12, or it says the hypotenuse is here. It tells us CD is 12, AD is 3, and we want us to find the distance of, ooh, this is a really hard one, AB. So we're going to have one really, really big triangle that is ABC. And if we have this big ABC triangle, what am I going to put right here for this line? What value? What's AB in this triangle here? X. And what am I going to write down for AC?
X.
15. Because 12 plus 3 is 15. Then I'm going to take this triangle right here. Watch what I'm coloring in. This green triangle. Can you see the green on the screen? Okay. So if I have this green triangle, what's AD equal? 3. Excellent. And what is AB equal? X. So now I can set up a proportion and solve it. So I'm going to do 15 over X equals X over 3. Okay. And then now we just do the math. X times X is X squared. 15 times 3 is 45. And then we take the square root. Now, hopefully by now you remember how to separate this out. We know that 9 and 3, sugar shoots, 9 and 5 gives us 45. So the square root of 9 is 3, and this square root comes down. So our answer is choice 3. If you did not know that, that's totally fine. All you need to do is you're going to have a very basic scientific calculator. All you would do instead is just type in, well, what's the square root of 45? And then see what you get, and then go from there. So the square root of 45 gives us 6.7. And then you're going to type each of these into the calculator. Well, if it's 6.7, we know it's not choice 2 or choice 4. And then let's see, okay, well, what's 5 square roots of 3? You know, so we'll have to do 5 times 3 square root is how they want us to do it. And then that's 1.7, so that's not the answer. Okay, so that is how you would do that problem. Okay. Let's look at 243. You guys are doing fantastic. Thank you. 243. Coordinates of a point are 7, 1. It says, what is the image? Ooh, this is so easy. After a rotation of 90 degrees. So all we do is flip. First of all, 7, 1 is positive. Talking by myself. If you're talking about math, that's fine. If you're having other conversations, that's not acceptable. So, because we're on YouTube Live right now, right, ladies? So if this is 7, 1, we know our point's somewhere over here. It's in quadrant 1. It says a rotation of 90 degrees. Whenever it's not listed, it's always going to be counterclockwise, which means it's going to go from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2. We talked about every time you rotate 90 degrees, you have to flip the X and Y. So now we know it's going to be 1, 7. So it can't be number 2. So that means we have a negative X and a positive Y, negative X, positive Y, choice 4. You did. You'll get there. Okay. Let's do a couple more and then we'll go on. We'll stop at 246. We'll finish 246 and then we'll brain break. So 3 problems, then we'll brain break. 3 problems, then we'll brain break. So question 244. Excuse me. Question 244. It tells us that these are tangent. Tangent is huge. Anytime you have tangents, you have 2 things. You have equal measures. So because this is 12, this also has to be 12. And you also have right angles. It wants us to know if this is 12, this is 12, this is 15, what's the length of here? Now all we have is we just have a right triangle. How do we find the missing? Well, we don't have an angle measure, so we're not going to do SOHCAHTOA. We're going to do Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus 12 squared equals 15 squared. X squared plus 144 equals 225. I don't feel like doing that in my brain. 81, it was a Pythagorean triple. I was wondering. Take the square root. X equals 9. Let me know when I can go on. Which quadrilateral does not always have congruent diagonals? Ooh, this one think I know, but I want to make sure. Yeah, I think it's an isosceles trapezoid, but let me double. Oh no, it's a rhombus. It's a rhombus. Because in order for an isosceles trapezoid, since these are the same, the diagonals have to be the same. So it's not this one. The rectangle is the one that has congruent diagonals to begin with. So it's not 2. A square is a rectangle. So the answer is 3. Because a rhombus, think about it. Here's a rhombus. This line here is longer than this line here. A rhombus is 4 sides are the same. I mean, it can also be a diamond. Let me see if I can find one.
Is it the diagonals are?
It's not letting me do it. The diagonals are perpendicular in a rhombus. Okay, last question, then we'll brain break. Actually, I want to brain break now because this one relates to circles. So give me a second to turn off the YouTube live.